In the far spiral edge of the Milky Way, where the starlight thins into cold cosmic winds, lived a species who believed they had mastered destiny itself. They were the Vashtari Dominion, tall, crystalline beings whose shimmering bodies hummed with quantum-threaded nerves. Where others needed technology to interpret the world, the Vashtari felt probabilities as easily as one felt the warmth of a sun on their skin. Across a million years of empire, they carved their reputation into the galaxy with a single truth. The Vashtari could predict every battle before it even happened. Their prediction engines, vaults of shifting light woven from quantum foresight, mapped every variable that defined a conflict. Troop movements, weapon energy, planetary atmospheres, command habits, even emotional fluctuations. To fight the Vashtari was to fight the future itself. No species had ever surprised them. No fleet had ever been unpredictable enough to challenge their foresight. That is, until humanity arrived. Humans, latecomers to the galactic stage, chaotic and noisy, emotional and irrational by galactic standards, were dismissed immediately. Primitive bipeds, impulsive, undisciplined, unrefined. The Vashtari predicted they would fall in days if conflict ever broke out. And so, with absolute confidence in their foresight, the Vashtari Dominion extended their glowing hands toward Earth with a simple message. Submit peacefully. Your defeat has already been calculated. The galaxy accepted the outcome as inevitable. But all predictions shared one blind spot: human unpredictability. And this story, this legend, begins on the day the perfect foresight of the Vashtari met the single most chaotic force the universe had ever seen: humanity. Vashtari Fleet Commander Sci-Fi floated above the tactical table, her crystalline limbs refracting pale blue light. The battle map flickered with projections, branching timelines, probability lines, and red arcs showing Earth's upcoming defeat. Human response probability, 94.7% compliance, her analysts chimed. Remaining probabilities include minor resistance. No scenario exceeds 0.2% threat. Sci-Fi hummed approvingly. Primitive species always made noise on the galactic net, demanding rights and claiming individuality. Humans would be no different. The Dominion predicted. They would posture. They would negotiate. They would threaten with their small navy. They would ultimately surrender, just as the models declared. But humans did something strange. They laughed. When the Vashtari ultimatum was broadcast worldwide, nations didn't argue. They didn't hide. They didn't panic. Millions of humans took to their connections, their primitive network of feral data streams, and reacted with memes. Memes. The Vashtari quantum engines tried to interpret the phenomenon. They failed. Sci-Fi watched the probability map flicker. Timelines shook. Metrics collapsed. What are they doing? She demanded. Unknown, replied a technician. They are expressing mirth. Tracking indicates this phenomenon is culturally significant. Significant how? Sci-Fi snapped. The technician hesitated. Predictors indicate this behavior correlates with increased human coordination. Sci-Fi stared. Laughter improves their coordination? No. Commander, the technician whispered. Making things up improves their coordination. For the first time in 1,000 years, the Vashtari found themselves staring at something that didn't fit a timeline. A species that behaved as if the future was one giant joke, and they were willing to make it up as they went. The Vashtari dismissed it as noise. But it was humanity's opening move. Sci-Fi expected a structured military response. Instead, she received an entire planet arguing with itself. Human leaders held no unified plan. Armies debated strategies in public. Civilians theorized battle scenarios openly. And the moment any plan leaked, thousands of humans online immediately contradicted it, created alternate theories, or suggested something completely absurd. The Vashtari prediction engine tried to process the flood of contradictory human behavior. Its glowing matrices flickered, dimmed, then stabilized only to shudder again. Commander, an analyst reported, the human data stream is generating 1.4 billion possible strategies per hour. Have they settled on a primary strategy? Sci-Fi asked. No. Secondary? No. Then what are they doing? The analyst swallowed. All of them. It was nonsense. An impossibility. Even the most chaotic species in the galaxy produced structured behavior in crisis. But humans didn't fear chaos. They embraced it. Some built bunkers. Some stood on rooftops cheering with handmade signs. Some made music. Some deployed real military units. Some spread misinformation. Some spread fake misinformation to confuse people who spread misinformation. And all of it, fed into the Vashtari prediction engines, overloading them with contradictions. For the first time in recorded Dominion history, the quantum foresight core stuttered and whispered a warning. Probability coherence compromised. Humans had done the impossible. They had confused the future. The Vashtari deployed a small reconnaissance fleet toward Earth, 6 sleek frigates designed for intimidation more than combat. The probability map indicated 99.6% humans would retreat, 0.3% they would panic, 0.1% minor resistance. But humans went with option, what if we just wing it? Admiral Sarah West, commanding Earth's orbital defense grid, stared at her console as the alien fleet arrived. Status? She asked. Unknown ships detected, but our international task force hasn't agreed on a standard response. Sarah sighed. Of course we haven't. Within minutes, she received 14 contradictory strategies, 6 emergency council votes, 3 nations refusing to participate, and 1 enthusiastic message from Australia. Hit him with the weird stuff. Sarah rubbed her face, then smiled. All right, she said. Let's try something they won't see coming. She turned to her officers. Activate Project Mirage. Officers blinked. Ma'am, that's not finished. It's barely. We don't have time to finish it. Turn it on. The Vashtari watched from orbit as humanity unleashed a dazzling array of holographic decoy ships, half-tested prototypes scrambling across the sky in bizarre formations. The prediction engine screamed. Too many signals. Too many variables. Every human ship had a 27% chance of being a hologram. Sarakai's log recorded. Human tactical behavior deviates from all known patterns. Engagement is unstable. Foresight probability nearing collapse. Sarah West didn't know the details. She didn't need to. She saw alien ships hesitate, and she whispered, Good. Let's keep them guessing. Sarakai reviewed the battle feed. None of it made sense. Human ships rotated in spirals, weaving between holographic illusions that multiplied, vanished, and sometimes shot at each other by accident. One human pilot even broadcast music during combat, a chaotic beat that caused 2 Vashtari analysts to faint from sensory overload. Commander, a strategist said weakly, their movements do not follow logical intent. They're not supposed to, Sarakai muttered. She leaned closer to the prediction engine, watching as its luminous probability branches flickered like dying embers. For the first time in her life, she felt something unfamiliar. Doubt. Across the galaxy, 1,000 allied species watched in shock as humanity, technologically inferior, strategically fragmented, hopelessly chaotic, held back a superior force through sheer unpredictability. The Vashtari finally understood. Humans were not disorganized. Humans were unpatterned. And nothing in the universe was harder to predict than a creature with no script. On Earth, Captain Liam Reyes, a former engineer turned emergency commander, led a ground response team stationed near an abandoned satellite array. Their job? Improvise a communication jammer. Except they had no blueprint, no timeline, no supplies, just a pile of random parts and a deadline. Liam stood before his mismatched team, scientists, soldiers, mechanics, and a teenager who just wandered in but had good ideas. He clapped his hands. All right, everyone. The aliens can predict what we're supposed to do. So let's do what we're not supposed to do. A scientist raised a hand. What exactly is that? Liam grinned. I have no idea. The team stared. That's the point. They built 3 devices at once. One that shouldn't work. One that worked in theory, but not in reality. And one that literally used duct tape and hope. When the alien frigates attempted to lock onto Earth's command frequencies, the duct tape version scrambled their sensors entirely. Probability engines reading unknown signal, Vashtari technicians cried. Pattern does not correspond to any coherent design. Sarakai hissed. What is causing the interference? A trembling analyst answered. It appears to be, improvised human nonsense. Sarakai blinked slowly. Nonsense is not a tactical category. It is now. When the Vashtari deployed their main fleet, 100 warships capable of reducing continents to ash, they expected humanity to finally collapse. Instead, They were met with the most disjointed, contradictory, improvisational defense ever assembled. Nations didn't unify under one plan. They unified under 10,000 different ones. Some armies dug trenches. Some launched drones. Some blasted distracting radio noise. Some held peace rallies that generated so much emotional noise the prediction engine misread it as a mobilized assault. The Vashtari engines overheated. Timelines fractured. Probability strands twisted into nonsense spirals. The future, once clear, once perfect, became noise. Serikai watched in disbelief. "How are they doing this?" she whispered. A Vashtari elder answered. "Commander, humans are not bound by prediction. They treat the future as something to play with. They do not foresee. They improvise. And improvisation," another added solemnly, "is the enemy of foresight." The battle was no longer strategic. It was metaphysical. Humanity wasn't winning through strength. They were breaking the laws that Vashtari foresight depended on. In the middle of chaos, one event cracked through the noise. A Vashtari scout ship was hit by debris and spiraled toward Earth's surface. Engines burning. Hull collapsing. Serikai watched in horror, not because of the loss, but because the probability maps said the human fighters nearby had a clear shot to destroy the falling vessel. Instead, they saved it. Admiral Sarah West ordered human pilots. "Catch that ship. Don't let them die." "What? They're the enemy. They're living beings. We don't let anyone burn alone." Human fighters maneuvered dangerously close, using their own hulls as shields to slow the alien ship's descent. 2 ships took catastrophic damage. 1 pilot was injured, but they succeeded. The Vashtari crew, disoriented, crystalline forms trembling, were dragged from the wreck by human medics. The senior medic knelt beside them and whispered the words that would echo across the Dominion for centuries. "You're safe. We've got you." The prediction engines fell silent. Emotion, mercy, sacrifice. These were variables no machine could calculate. Serikai felt her chest tighten. Humans weren't just unpredictable in battle. They were unpredictable in compassion. And that terrified her more than any weapon. The Vashtari foresight core began to implode under contradiction loops. Every timeline collapsed into static. Every prediction dissolved into noise. The future, once clear as crystal, became a fog of endless possibilities. Humans had broken the unbreakable. Serikai stood in the prediction chamber as cracks of darkness split across the glowing engine. Technicians screamed, "Commander, the core cannot compute. Human behavior exceeds prediction limits. Shut it down." Serikai ordered. "We can't. It's trying to calculate everything at once." A final surge of quantum backlash erupted, a storm of impossible probabilities, unraveling the Dominion's grandest power. And in the silence that followed, Earth's message arrived. Admiral Sarah West appeared on the Dominion Fleet Channel, battered, bruised, and smiling. "You came here believing the future was written," she said. "But here's our secret." Her voice hardened into steel. "Humans don't follow the future. We make it." The Vashtari stood humbled, defeated, not by strength, not by technology, but by the impossible, unpatterned spirit of a species that refused to fit inside a prediction. Serikai descended to Earth under a white flag. Her crystalline form dimmed in humility as she walked among the humans who had saved her crew. Children waved at her. Soldiers offered her food. Scientists asked questions about her biology. No hatred, no vengeance, only curiosity, warmth, chaotic, unfiltered hope. She approached Admiral Sarah West. "You defeated us," Serikai said softly. "Not with weapons, not with strategy, but with unpredictability." Sarah chuckled. "No, we defeated you with humanity." Serikai tilted her head. "And what does that mean?" Sarah looked at the sky, at the damaged ships, the smoking clouds, the flickering holograms still glitching from half-tested prototypes. "It means," she said, "that we're flawed, we're loud, we're emotional. And when the universe expects us to act one way," she smiled, "we do something completely different." Serikai bowed her crystalline head. "For the first time, I realize. The galaxy has been missing something profound." Sarah nodded. "It's called imagination." Serikai whispered. "And for the first time, the galaxy understands what it truly means to be human."